Now I have been pondering another question in my mind about how we make paintings and art and all the rest of it, and it's one that I think of often because when I involve with groups of people in classes, and they in all of my time uh, in education, uh, one of the biggest things I've as a teacher been up against, if you like, is fear. Um, and I often wonder, how do we all get to be afraid of a piece of paper? Because, or a piece of cardboard, or a piece of canvas, because that happens all the time. I speak with students, and uh, they've not frozen, but they don't want to go any further because they're saying, I'm not sure if this is right. I'm not sure. Should I do this? I'm a wee bit, and that's natural. That's understandable. And I have the same feeling myself when I paint. Uh, but the thing is, I often wonder, well, what is it that makes us that way? Uh, because we do lots of other things in life, and we maybe don't get quite as frozen over it. Um, and I believe there's a lot of things go on, and it's. I think if you find out what the things are, you can deal with it. And one of the simple things is your history, as in your previous experiences with painting, art, whatever. And that often goes back to school days. We all remember what art was like in school. We've all had different experiences, but there's usually a bit of a common thread goes through things to do with art. I find um, sometimes it's to do with in your school, art wasn't seen as very valuable, compared to the other subjects. If you studied English or geography or maths and all those things, they were important subjects. And art uh, generally was seen on the back burner, people. And so in the worst case, it was often seen as the thing that you were sent to do if you were no good at anything else. Sometimes in the worst case scenarios, you did art or PE or something like that, or in my case, in my school, sometimes it was woodwork. So if you weren't going to be a philosopher or something like that, that's where you ended up, which is very, very sad. But it's the way it is, or was rather, uh, in a certain generation. But even in my days teaching in college, which aren't that long ago, I often had young students coming in to join our classes, coming in to do A levels and whatever, and they were totally without confidence about their work. And I heard the phrase over and over and over again when I opened their folder of work or their sketch pads to look at what they'd brought in. And before I could speak, they would say, "Oh, don't look at that. That's rubbish." And I heard adults saying that as well. I was going up to look at their paintings, and before I could go over, they would laugh nervously and put their hand up. "Oh, don't look at this. This is rubbish." So immediately, two things happen. One is they have they have made a statement about themselves, which is not true. Uh, but it's also a habit that's probably been picked up from school days or some other experience where perhaps someone else, they may not have said you're rubbish, although I've heard of teachers sadly using that term. Uh, but it could come from other things, not so much rubbish, but lack of confidence or lack of being given confidence back then. So that's what you carry through your life, and then you're conditioned to say that or to think it. And if you do that, you're only making it work. You're only reinforcing it every time you say that or think it. So it's important. It sounds like something. Why would we talk about this? I just want to do a painting class and have fun, make paintings, and that's the end of it. And why are you there, Sam, talking about all this stuff about childhood and whatever? But it's actually true, because I'm always finding ways to how can people get better at painting and enjoy it and be confident even more and more and more. And if I want to do that, and if you want to do that, then we have to address some of these things. So I wouldn't my encouragement in this: theme, if you like, is think about what your experiences were. You like me. I mean, I had some art teachers that would tell me I'm not so good or whatever. Maybe worse than that. I also had some great art teachers who were fantastic. So I'm very grateful for that. But you must keep in mind, no matter what that was all about, that was then, and it is gone. It's gone forever. And you were that person then making those drawings when you were whatever age, but you're not that person anymore. So you can't measure that. You're starting new. You're doing something fresh. What you did at GCSEs or when you were 15 or whatever it was, it doesn't really have the same bearing on what you're doing now, because you have a different control of your life than you did when you were 15. And then there's sometimes people worry about what their family say. Maybe even sons and daughters. Now, I don't like this from my family. They laugh at my paintings. But that's, if they want to laugh, that's up to them. But you as an artist or as a painter, you should not respond to that, because you're always going to get people who respond differently to art. I've hung exhibitions and people have come in, oh, this is wonderful. And I've also had a couple of people write reviews that just broke my heart because they were so critical and kind of just made me feel, what's the point in going on? But that's the way it is. But that's their problem. As far as I'm concerned, I'm here to make art and have a good time making art. So when you're in front of that canvas and you get that fear, maybe I shouldn't put that. What's happening is you're afraid to put it down in case someone's going to come along and tell you this is rubbish. But that's not going to happen. And even if it did happen, you ignore them, because you're in the business of learning and getting better. And you don't fix something until you've done it. You have to put that mark down. And if it's not correct, then you correct it. But the fear of putting it down means you're never going to get anywhere with it. So overcome that and go ahead, and suddenly you will find that develops confidence. And with confidence, you push the paint around better, or your pencil, or whatever it is. And the more you do that, the better the work gets, and the more confidence, and the cycle begins that way. But if you start by saying, don't look at this is rubbish, then you're going to cycle back the wrong way. So apply that the next time you're painting.